Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. I am simply Sherri, one of the four hosts of this awesome collective. I'm not going to talk about what my night is tonight because I'm hosting. So I'm going to go ahead real quick. I know what I forgot to say. You know, if you've been here before, you know, since the beginning of the pandemic, we have been here having fascinating conversations with artists of all genres. And we, even though things are starting to open up a little bit, we still want to keep this thing going because we enjoy the conversations that we're having. Our fourth host, Charity Joyce Blackwell, her week is called Art Plus Therapy. She will be back for our roundtable at the end of the month. But for now, I'm going to kick it to the one, the only Girl Genius.
Hey everyone, I'm trying to adjust myself and sit back so I'm not getting the glare from my ring light. Hi everyone. So I am Girl Genius. I am one of the other hosts on this show. My week is let's talk about the book where I pick an author and pick their brain about the process and the things and all the things that go with the things. Sorry, I am sort of like a little out of it. So I'm just gonna tell you guys now, my arm is on fire slightly. I got my little ouchie shot today. So I'm just like, yeah. So we're gonna see how we get through this. However, I am excited to be here tonight. I am excited about having our first returning guest. We have gone, 18 months roughly and not had a repeat. So this is our first well worth it repeat. So I'm super excited.
And when we get into it, we'll tell you why. This is our first
there's
repeat.
a specific reason why we have this one person here. This one. So I am going to tell you that I am the first week of the month, and then I am going to gracefully bow out so we can get into this after I kick it to one of my favorite people, and that would be Kaniki J.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here because I'm so excited about our special guest. And I know I say that every week, but I'm excited every time. I am Kaniki Jakarta, the first Black Poet Laureate of Alexandria, Virginia, happily serving this 3-year term and happily part of this collective. So if you're following us on Keep the Mic On, I should tell you right now that our Cash App is Keep the Mic On. Right. So we definitely want to continue to support these people. When they come on for free. They give us free time. And we would love to. And what we're doing is not free. So if you would like to continue to help us keep the mic on, that's how you can do so. My night is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for the arts. Thank you. Maureen says she loves my earrings. I had to shout myself out. Thank you very much. So tell your friends, your mama and them that they need to be following us right now. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to tell them that we are live and subscribe and do that thing. So I'm going to jump on out and I'm going to reintroduce our hostess for tonight. Her name is simply Sherri, and there is nothing simple about her. Give it up for your hostess tonight.
My new tagline. I'm gonna use that.
Use it. You're just gonna use it. I've said it several times.
I know. I'm putting it on something. I'm gonna put it on something. All right. Thank you, Kaniki. Thank you, Girl Genius. I appreciate it. And again, as we previously mentioned, tonight's guest is our first repeat guest. When we started Keep the Mic On in March of last year, like as soon as the pandemic started, the next week we were doing Keep the Mic On. We were doing it via Zoom. We did not know anything about recording, about streaming, about how to preserve the interview. And Perry Vision was one of our first interviews. The interview only exists in the minds of the people that were there. So now that we have all of our technology straight, we wanted to bring them back, especially also since a lot of great things have happened even since that interview was a year and a half ago. So welcome, Perry.
Good to be back.
Yes, we are back. So really quick, for those that are unfamiliar, Perry, I am going to butcher your last name. I know I am.
No worries.
Okay. Perry Vision Di Virgilio.
You got it.
Damn. Yes, is a poet, activist, and youth poetry educator. A graduate of Dickinson College, Vision's work focuses on racial identity, identity politics, healing, and dismantling toxic masculinity. Vision's poetry and poetry workshops were featured on CNN's Black in America, the highest rated documentary in CNN history. He's performed in over 30 international cities, 40 universities, as well as on TV One's Verses and Flow. From 2011 to 2017, Vision served as the artistic director and workshop facilitator for the Philadelphia Youth Poetry Movement, where he taught poetry as an avenue for self-expression, self-esteem, public speaking, and peer mentoring. He currently co-coaches the Philadelphia Youth Poetry Team and the 2011 and 2015 International Youth Poetry Slam Champions. Vision has authored 3 collections of poetry: Surviving Saturn's Return, Heal on Purpose, and About Her. He is currently working on his 4th collection of poetry, and he is also the creator and animator behind the awesome YouTube theater series called Trashterpiece Theater, which we will definitely be getting into tonight. So welcome, Perry.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So as you know, I'm an exit stage left, so you can do a poem, and then we'll go ahead and get into this interview.
Okay. The bed beckons, and recently rising has been a miracle of motion. But today I feel blessed. Today I will not drown in a garden of linens, then struggle to resurrect myself. Today I feel blessed. I find myself on an L platform at 5:55 a.m. doing a horrible samba to Joao Gilberto. The man 10 feet away from me beams. I'm not sure if he's laughing at my stubborn hips or smiling at this audacious freedom, but today I dance. I dance onto the train, deep in my Sergio Mendes bag. Today, the weight of chaos defies gravity. I am black boy buoyant, black man defiant. I am underground, yet still reflecting a sun that has not yet risen. A girl takes out her phone, tries to sneak a video of me. And normally I'd be upset, but today, feel free to turn this black joy viral. I ascend up flights of stairs like my resurrection is imminent. And it is. Downtown Philly is still dark, but damn it, I'm lit. And I'm two-stepping to 90s R&B, Chico DeBarge and Joe. And I'm singing off-key like they wrote it for my imperfect pitch. I'm at the gym. And hypermasculinity is telling me to chill, tapping me on the shoulder, telling me to calm down. But patriarchy won't patronize me today, won't convince me that man and stoic are synonymous. I am unshaken, I am unshackled, and Carl Thomas just gave me permission to move. I'm back outside, but I'm still plugged in. I'm still feeling regal, still feeling relucent. I wink at the sun and watch it begin to covet my radiance. And the air tastes like spring, like opportunities are new. The breeze feels like fresh skin, a shameless shedding. I'm back at my apartment, and my puppy tilts his head, confused. Nugget's been witnessing me mope for months up and down these halls like I've been haunting our home. Today, he doesn't bat those beautiful brown obelisks at me. He's smiling because I'm smiling. I blast Meek through the speaker, and we mean mug like only North Philly and a pit bull can. I'm reluctant to bathe. Don't want to wash off this feeling. Like there's a fine line between backsliding and baptism. I shower rebelliously. Nugget sits in the bathroom like he doesn't want to leave while I'm levitating. I'm back in my bedroom, reading toxic text from a passive-aggressive new opportunity. I say, okay. My phone rings, and an old vow is on the other end with an orchard of apologies. I say, okay. 2 syllables have never been this palatable. I'm okay. The bed will beckon again, and I'll be okay. I have let go. I have let God. Who knows what tomorrow brings? But today I'm at the corner of faith and flying, and this is what it feels like to survive winter. Thank you.
God, I love that poem. I've heard you do that before and in person. I am so happy you did it again right now. So the first thing, so welcome back. We're going to talk a little bit of poetry background and how you transition from poetry to animating, because I think that has been a very important conversation to have in general, how poets are using this medium to jump to do other things. Yeah. So when did you, this question is usually part of the end, the from behind the microphone segment, but when did you start writing and what led you to put your thoughts on the page in this way?
So my mother was like a career student. Like every time she got a new qualification or a new degree, she went back and got another one. So she was really big on that. So I've been writing at a very early age, but poetry, I didn't start really doing that until like middle school, high school. And even then it was like writing stuff and hiding it under the mattress so nobody could see it. Then in college, I really started going ham. And coming back to Philly was like the Black Lily phase of Philly with the neo soul phase with, you know, you go into the 5 spot and any given night, it could be India Arie and the Roots and Badu and Jill, and just that kind of that nourishment, that artistic nourishment was just so vital to me. So it's been a long thing from then to now, like just constantly being bombarded with love from the city and this culture. So it's big shout out to being from Philly, and it's amazing to be from an artistic city. Yeah, I ain't got to tell y'all that. Y'all know that.
Yeah, we're in Baltimore.
Y'all very well. Yeah, y'all know that. I
love it. Okay, you've talked. We'll get into Baltimore in a minute because you told an amazing story the last time you were here.
I got quite a few Baltimore stories. I love Baltimore.
You got so many. I'm gonna keep that in the Trashterpiece Theater segment. Y'all trust us. When we get to Trashterpiece, you will understand why that makes me
absolutely.
So my next question is about that piece. What led you? How can I say? How did you get into the mind space to write that piece? Because it is so amazing. I have to say that.
Thank you first when I received that. I was depressed. I had went through a lot. Like, you know, it seemed like hit after hit after hit after hit kept coming. You know, it's like, all right, I can handle this, and something else, and I can handle this. So it was like a very, very dark moment. And I was comfortable in the darkness, and that's what made me scared, that I was comfortable. I had never been comfortable in darkness before, and I was comfortable. But one day, for whatever reason, I woke up and I was like, I feel good. Like the only place I would only ever go, like I would literally go to the gym and come home. That's all I was doing at the time. But that day I'm like, I don't know when I'm ever going to feel like this again, or if I'm ever going to feel like this again. So I'm going to document this. So that poem, I wrote that. The parts where I say I'm at the gym, I wrote that at the gym. When I'm on the train, I wrote it on the train. So it was, I didn't know if I was going to ever feel that way again. So I wanted to live in it and feel it. And I think there's a lesson in living in the moment that I needed to feel that day, to appreciate these good times, appreciate that love, because they can be abundant, but if you start to take them for granted, you know what I mean? Like that, you get in situations like that.
I get it. I so get it. I don't think I need to write mine. I need to write one when, you know, today was a good day, more or less.
Yeah.
Because I really felt that there was a line that you said, and of course I'm having a problem, of course, recalling it in this moment, but there's like a line that jumped out at me. Analysis made the comment about you being deep in your Sergio Mendes bag.
That's my bossa nova. I was listening to a lot of bossa nova and samba at the time. For whatever reason, it was really making me happy. And I can't do no Brazilian dance at all, but you couldn't tell me I wasn't the man that day on the train. So
I get that. So where do you tend to write? What locations?
I very seldom write in the house.
Okay.
It's just too many distractions. I got my dog is 4 now, and he wants some attention, and it's something on the TV. So I can't write poetry in the house. I said I can do some screenwriting in the house sometimes. I can animate in the house sometimes. But I'm at the park. I'm in nature. I'll go to the to 30th Street Station, which is like our main train station. It's just so many people just moving around. I get inspiration. They're just people watching and making up stories. I don't even know these people, but I'm like, you know, her name's Sarah, and she going. I get so much inspiration from just being around, like, you know, in settings like that. So from nature to just being in a super busy place, pre-COVID. That was pre-COVID. Now it's all about nature and being by myself. But pre-COVID, you could catch me out and about somewhere like super busy on a train or at a train platform. But now recently it's been super nature, like all about nature.
I like that you said that you that the people watching is good to you.
Yeah,
like it feels good to you.
Absolutely. It's I think when I was coaching and teaching, you know, the Philly Youth Poetry Movement, I would always tell them, like, writer's block only exists because we let it. Typically writer's block exists in two ways. Like you have something to say, but you don't know how to say it. And that means you're just thinking too much. Like you should be writing from your heart and just free write. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking way too much. You're worrying about the how instead of the what. And that's how we get caught up with that kind of writer's block. The other writer's block is I want to write, but I don't have anything to say. It means you're doing the same things over and over again. You know what I mean? You gotta switch something up in your life. And for me, that's where people watching come in, because I will watch couples. I will get to the airport 5 hours before my flight and people watch and write on my laptop. And I've always come up with something interesting. If I don't have anything to write, I always come up with something interesting. Even if it's not something to share, it'll still entertain me. I'll still enjoy it.
I'm glad you said that about just opening up your mind to write. This past week, I almost got caught in a rainstorm coming home from work. And like the last part of my commute home is about a 3-minute walk uphill, but it was about to rain. And I wrote like just a quick Facebook post. It was a Facebook post. And when I went to write it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna force myself to use some imagery. I could have just wrote, the general Facebook post, dear God, please, ask God not to rain on me. And here's the thunder and the lightning as I come up the hill. But I made sure that I filled it out a little bit more just as a writing exercise. It was that
an exercise.
Simple. And all it was a Facebook status. And one of my friends read it because, laughing with me. Because I meant to write it funny, be a little funny. And she read it and she's like, the imagery in that is so beautiful. I said, you know what? My next writing exercise, I'm going to go back to that same status and just
hash it out. Yeah.
Just make it even a more fuller.
Yeah.
50. And it's all about the 30 minutes from the time I left work and I knew it was going to rain and asking God, please don't rain on me. And as soon as I hit my hill to come home, the thunder cracks and the lightning starts.
And that's so relatable. Like that's the thing. I feel like as writers, sometimes we feel like we got to write this perfect poem or it's something heavy or something, earth shattering and different. And it's like, that's relatable. Like if you think about it, even in music, even with songwriters, a song like Bad Luck by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, it's just talking about all this bad luck this person's having. We sitting there dancing at a cabaret, but it's relatable. We've had days like that where it was just boom, 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 boom. People want to hear that because people can relate to that. That resonates with people.
Yeah, I think that's why people enjoy it. It's like at a minimum, it's like, I just don't want to get wet.
Yeah, and we can all relate to that. We all can relate to that. Whether you got your hair is fly, you got outfit, like, yo, please not today.
I don't have my umbrella with me. I just want to get up there.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and start talking about what was the inspiration for you to decide to start taking your stories and your creative muses and turning them into what is now Trashterpiece Theater?
It happened completely organically. I didn't plan anything out at all. Again, I was like deep I was in a really dark place. And like, I was just stuck. It was dead winter. It was winter, was that 2019? Yeah, 2019. I started telling a story on my Instagram story, like literally like the slides. I would write out a couple sentences on it. And I told this absurd story about having a stalker. And I'm like, yo, people were laughing like, yo, this is funny as hell. And I'm like, well, this ain't the only time this happened. It's like, well, you got to tell that one too. And I'm like, all right, this just took me 3 hours to type out. I'll do this again next week. Next Saturday at noon, I did the same thing. And they were like, well, tell another one. I'm like, I'll do that next week. And so literally it was just me goofing off on my phone, just telling this story about this time I had a stalker. One of many, but this one particular stalker. And that turned into me literally typing out a story from noon to 3:30 every Saturday. And people would click slide by slide of me waiting for the next slide. And I talked to a couple of producer friends and they were like, yo, you have something here. We were going to do a live action. But then COVID hit. And then we talking like even before we were shut down, like, Hollywood was shutting down. Hollywood was already bumping movies back. So my friend was like, yo, we're going to put this on the back burner. And so I'm like, well, I think this could be animated. So I took a couple months and taught myself a bunch of different free trial animation suites until I got terrible enough to do it. And my first few episodes are really bad, but it shows growth. So literally, I just like this can be told. There's a story here, and I want to bring this to life. I want this to be how it's in my head on the screen. And I just told myself how to animate using animation suites. I can't draw for nothing, but I can use some software all day.
All right, so I think this is a good time for us to share the Trashterpiece Theater that I pulled aside. Please don't copyright strike me when this goes.
You good. You good. You good. You're so good.
Because YouTube will do the most with the copyright strike.
It really will.
And I picked this one just because it's about a 2-minute video. And I thought that this would be a good one to share with everyone. So everyone, please, this is the genesis of Petty Perry on Trashterpiece Theater.
Being petty doesn't come from nowhere. There's always something that sparks it. Trashterpiece Theater, mini episode, the genesis of Petty Perry. So when I was little, my mom used to send me to camp every summer for weeks at a time. I used to think it was for my benefit. But come to find out, she just wanted to send me away to live her best life during the summer. This one year, I was at Camp Timberlake blossoming into a young tater thought since I never went through a girls are icky stage. I bagged the cutest girl in camp, Amira, who happened to be 2 years older than I was. My friends were excited for us. The counselors were excited for us. But apparently the older boys in camp wasn't feeling that shit. Especially Taj, Kevin, and Eddie. Taj had a big crush on Amira, and Kevin and Eddie were his lackeys. Instead of congratulating a young player, they started bullying me. They used to dunk me at the pool, throw things at me when no one was looking, and used to mess with me in the cafeteria when no counselors were around. They were bigger than me, so there wasn't much I could do to them physically, and they outnumbered me. I mean, I have friends, but they weren't about their life. They just kept trying to get me to tell somebody. So my options were to take it on the chin or snitch. Neither option worked well for me, so I created a third. I got calculated. During the week, since they were older, we slept in different cabins, but on the weekends, all the boys slept out in the forest in tents. I didn't know how I was going to get them back, but I knew that would be the time. I figured it out quick, too. The counselors brought food and snacks with us, but we were supposed to drink water straight from the creek since it was pure spring water. So I waited for Taj, Crab, and Goyle to get thirsty, and when they did, I quietly followed them to the spring. When they sat down at the bank, I walked upstream. When they started to drink and fill their bottles, I peed into the water so it would float downstream to where they would drink. Every time they walked down to the creek, I followed them and peed in the water upstream from them. Every time they drank, they quenched their thirst with some North Philly pee. And they never knew. I never said anything, not even to my friends. Just sat back and enjoyed my silent revenge. They still talk shit during the week, but I knew I got the best of them. I got the girl, and they spent weekends drinking Cold Mountain spring urine. That was enough. What's wild is, it wasn't the last time I peed on something to get revenge. To be continued. Thank you so much for watching Trashterpiece.
So that was one of my Patreon episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I picked that one because it was 2 minutes. Perry knows that was not my favorite.
No. I love that episode. I feel like I enjoy doing that. Like people over typically Trashterpiece starts like in the mid to late 90s and goes up into like 2005. But that one is like 88, maybe, I don't know, 89. And people are like, hey, like what were like people were like genuinely asking, how were you as a child? And I'm like, not much better. Different, but not much better. So I enjoy doing that episode. I have a few more like that as well on my Patreon, as well as some stuff about my pop. Like my pop has a little spinoff. He don't know though. He's not a Patreon.
Oh wow.
He has no idea.
Because I'm a member of your Patreon, and if you would like to join Vision's Patreon, it is at the top of your screens, Patreon Vision Poet. You do get additional content. Definitely shit Paridi says is
Yeah, and he has a couple more episodes coming up too.
and your boy Bruce, I think he has his own spinoff.
Yeah, Bruce has a spinoff.
Does Bruce know is now the question. Now I know your
Bruce,
dad.
Bruce does know. He's fine. He's fine with his spinoff as long as I don't bring the episodes to Instagram, because he doesn't want his new girlfriend seeing it. So he's fine with it.
So you mentioned what other type of stories are you telling via Trashterpiece? We talked about the stalkers. Y'all, others, for everyone watching, your other homework is the Britney Spears stalker Jean is hysterical.
True story. Everything is based on a true story.
Wait a minute. Whenever I need a good laugh, Like, just life is just crazy. You know what? I need a good laugh. Let me go ahead and watch that again. That one is hysterical.
That like the cool thing about it is, like, looking back now, I find it funny. At the time, I was like, yo, what is happening? God be trolling me. But with Trashterpiece, it's for me, I've always been really vulnerable in my art. And I feel like I've always hoped that will give other men, like, power, freedom to be vulnerable in their art as well. And I feel like that's when I'm at my best, when I'm being vulnerable. And so the stories are about, being hypersexual, being ridiculously hypersexual in my 20s. But the lessons that came along with it, like, none of this is glorified. It's like, hey, these are the things, how I got to this point is like, so imagine like Saved by the Bell, but instead of Zach, bigging up all the trash things he do, he's like, look, I was trash. Let me tell y'all how I was trash. That's basically how Trashterpiece Theater is.
I love that. I like that. I like that you're taking ownership.
Absolutely.
Of it. So you've included a little bit of every. So wait a minute. Why do you have this full name of your old apartment? Red Door. I want to know where that came from.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing every time. 2764 Cranston Road, Red Door, first floor. It was the only apartment. It was the only apartment building on the block with a red door. So I would give people my address, and I'm like, yo, it's the red door on the first floor. And then it just kind of just morphed into the whole thing. And so now you just got to say it. You got to say it the whole time.
Because I find every time you talk about it, because there's one with a friend that was staying with you, holding orgies. I mean, like I said, y'all, when you get into Trashterpiece, you're going to go, I can't believe all of these stories are true. They're true.
They're true. Yeah, like that was my roommate was just a wild, like, I thought I was a wild dude. And it's like, so sometimes, like, you think you like a freak, or you got a potty mouth or whatever, until you get around somebody who is worse than you, and it make you feel like vanilla. It was like, oh, like, damn, bro, like, you gets it in. Like, it was like really an experience living with Jerry. He was a good dude. But I realized I wasn't as I could never reach his levels of trash. It was just never gonna happen.
That's the good thing about life, that we all learn, that is, no matter how bad I think I am on any given level, there's somebody that's gonna be like, oh, okay, things are okay.
Yeah.
I do have some limits.
Yeah.
So do you remember how many different animation programs that you looked into before you settled on the one that you're using? So if there was an animation suite that had a free trial, I used it, because at the time I was so broke. I was in a dark place. I really wasn't. My tour schedule was like, I was telling my manager, like, don't really book me for nothing. I did the run in what's the name though, and I did the Bus Boys run, but that was pretty much it. So whatever was free. So I did Beyond, I did Powtoons, I did Toonly, I did Doodly, I did Animaker. I did like maybe 8 different genres, week after week, just trying to learn, what I could do. And then I landed on Beyond, and I still use Powtoons, and then I taught my, iMovie and then Final Cut Pro. But whatever was free at the time, that's what I was doing. And so it was a bunch of them before I figured out which one worked the best for me. Okay. Now, the part of the reason you want to have this conversation about Trashterpiece, for everyone watching, a couple of weeks ago, back in May, we had B. Sharice Moore on, May or June. Sorry, the dates are flowing. The homie who has written a full YA novel that is actually about to be adapted into a into another piece of art. And she started as a poet. So that's why I think it's great to see so many people doing that right now. So what has happened since our last conversation is that you have been invited to participate in 2 separate film festivals. Yeah. And I didn't even, so the first film festival was the American Black Film Festival, comedy festival. And somebody was like, hey, listen, you should apply for this. I'm like, I got a little silly IGTV series that people like, but I don't know if this qualifies for a film festival. And it did. And I applied on the very last day at like
I think submissions were due at 11:59 Pacific, and I submitted mine like 11:37 Pacific, and I got selected, and it ran the length of it, and we won the audience award. I can't. We won the audience. Unfortunately, they are. Unfortunately, we won the audience award for best comedy web series. And then from there, Black Star Film Festival reached out and was like, "Hey, let's collab." And these are two of the biggest Black film festival organizations on the planet. And it just was like, I didn't even consider this when I first started. I didn't even realize that I was eligible to be in film festivals. And here we are.
Because technically, Trashterpiece Theater is shorts.
Yeah.
And you just thought you were making, Sunday morning cartoons.
That's it. I thought I was making a little ratchet show. But for me, a big shift was when I first started. It was like it'll just be up whenever at some point on Sunday. But then I started taking it serious. Like, no, every Sunday at 6 p.m. You're gonna get content. And I think that for me, that shifted my mindset, realizing that, hey, this can be bigger. And if I take it serious, if I take this seriously. And I treat myself as a professional, then folks will take me seriously and treat me like a professional. That's what happens. I found an amazing manager from Instagram who just happened upon the show. I'm working with some really cool production companies as we're developing it to take it to a larger platform. So again, I never dreamed. This wasn't what I planned on at first. I was just telling some ratchet ass stories, but here we are.
Ratchetry in the 2020s is a thing. So hey, yeah. But the thing is that as ratchet as the stories are, and some of them are ratchet, the dropping the stuff off at 2:00 in the morning in the studio apartment, ratchet,
really ratchet, and careless, clueless, just horrible
decision.
You're
20, so you
horrible decision.
You do stupid stuff at that time frame,
yeah.
But you can tell, you don't, even when you're discussing your ratchetry, you don't degrade the woman involved.
No, I degrade me. It was me. It was my fault. It wasn't nobody else but me. It was me.
Yeah. And you give the lesson that you learned behind whatever this was.
Absolutely.
Which I appreciate, which I like as well. And I also noticed that you started animating some of your poems.
Yes, yeah. The poem I read, Miracle of Motion, that's animated, and I'm gonna animate some more. Like, I've been getting requests for like old poems to like reimagine them with animation. I'm like, I might try that. But for me, it's all writing. Like, I don't look at my screenwriting any differently than I do my poetry. Like, most of my poems are stories anyway. Like, I've always written that way. Like, Miracle of Motion is a story. Lightning Bug poem is a story. Thirsty is a story. So that's just kind of how I've always written anyway. So it all kind of goes hand in hand with me. So I'm going to continue to do that. But it's all poetry to me. Like, whether, like, even the way these stories, it's a lot of alliteration and rhyme and internal rhyme within the episodes of Trashterpiece Theater. I can't turn being a poet off. No, I just can't.
No, that's a writing. Even I'm watching another YouTube series with Clint Smith right now, and that is called Crash Course Black American History. Y'all should watch that. It's amazing. And even though he's being an educator in that moment, you can still see his poet trying to slip through just a little bit.
Yeah, and I've been using that, and I think. We're trying, as number one, as spoken word or as spoken word poets, or I don't really distinguish between page and spoken word, but whatever.
Yeah.
As writers, as poets, like, we've been trained. Like, when I'm in pitch meetings now, and I'm blessed to be in pitch meetings, I'm poet. When I'm reading my pitch, I'm performing, and it's like all of that has led to this moment with these producers who are in LA, who are millionaires, who know nothing about me, but I'm on stage. And whether it's on a Zoom meeting or it's in person, I'm performing, and that is really, sets us apart as writers. Whether it, and that you go from Clint or to Liz Acevedo to B. Sharice to Julian Randle, who's doing YA, to even like Rudy Francisco, who is on late night shows, like just wowing folks. And to us, we like, this is what we do. We get busy. Y'all better stop sleeping on us, and it's carrying over in so many places in life. And I love to see like all this evolution. Is really beautiful.
So do I. I'm so excited about I'm more well known than I think I am. I will say it that way. But if you ask me, nobody knows who I am. Like nobody knows me. I'm just around. But every time I see a poet somewhere that they normally are not, Brandon Leaks, American's Got Talent. You mentioned Rudy on Jimmy Fallon. Even when Prentice Powell was doing Arsenio Hall a couple of years ago, that's like, oh, we're winning a little bit. Like we're getting somewhere. So I was
that's
like,
a W. I never look at any of that as like, oh, I wish that was me. I'm like, that is me. Mm-hmm. Like when I saw B. Sharice put that out, and when I saw her when it's getting developed for something bigger, that it was never a moment like, well, where's mine? It's like, nah, that is mine. Yeah, we're winning.
Yes, Roscoe, and and I'm dropping a lot of things, and I'm definitely going to drop this Amazon Roscoe Burnham's dramedy. Go watch that, and I think it's actually available on some other platforms now as well. So yeah, we are taking what we do as far as we can go, and it showing that spoken word is not how they parody it. Yes, I had to slowly work that word out my mouth right there. In movies and stuff. In fact, when I'm hosting, I've added that. If you've seen it on TV or in the movies, this ain't like that.
This ain't it.
That ain't it.
This ain't it. And I mean, and even if it is, like, that's still worthy too. Like, I kind of do the same thing. This ain't Love Jones, but I'm still here for the Love Jones poet. Like, I'm all about love poems, and I'm all about, like, we are all of these things, and we are none of these things, and it's beautiful. Like, I'm here for it, and I love to see all these artists I know just winning and taking chances, because it all comes from the same source. This inspiration, this love of words. And honestly, for me, like, as cool as it is to be an animator now and to kind of bring that to life, like, the writing is what it is. The writing is more than anything. Like, we've seen that with like other animated shows like South Park or Beavis and Butthead, where it's like animation is just very rudimentary, but the writing is what makes it funny, is what draws us in. So we are way bigger and better than we realize with our pens. We're so much more impactful.
That is true. How long does it take you to script and storyboard a Trashterpiece? Not actually I'm splitting it in two questions, not the animation work, but just the script and storyboard.
So because I do a new episode, like I should have thought this through in this seasons, but it didn't work out that way. Typically Monday and Tuesday I'm writing. I'm storyboarding, real rudimentary storyboard on Wednesday. I do like my voiceovers on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, and putting everything together. And Sunday it's post-production, and then right back for the next week, the same. So every single day I'm doing something.
Yeah, okay.
And it's only 8 minutes. These are like 8-minute episodes. So I feel like people think like, hey, this 8 minutes, this can't take that long. It's like, nah.
Because a good poem could take a morning. I've had that happen.
Yeah.
It could take 6 months.
Yeah, legit. And then sometimes, again, I go in different directions. Like, even with some of like the crazier concepts, like, while everything is based on a true story, I promise you, I do not pray to the F-boy gods. That's just really funny to me.
We will talk about the F-boy gods, because you keep adding them. You keep adding new gods, which is hysterical.
Yeah, like, but that kind of stuff happens last minute. Like, oh my God, that would be funny. Like, this episode that I'm working on for next week, that was gonna, I got some, I didn't even think about it. Like, I forgot all about this story. And what happens is new episodes come up from conversations. Like, yo, remember it was such and such, and that makes you think about one thing, like, oh, that did happen. I gotta tell that story. It's very, very organic. This is how the stories come up. It's nothing, sequential isn't the word I'm looking for. Chronological. It's non-chronological. It's all over the place. One week it'll be 99. The next week it'll be 2005. And I never say what year it is. I just say what song or what clothes was out that year. But it's always just, boom, this is what it is. All right, we're going to write on that. And this isn't good enough. Or I need to edit this down. And this is too long. And I can look at a script now, but like, all right, this is 3 minutes too long. I don't even got to count the words anymore. This is 3 minutes way too long, or this isn't long enough. So it's become like this constant thing. So I'm looking forward.
So it's more, I'm trying to think. I'm going to use the word regimented.
Yeah. I work very good with structure. It's very structured. It's ridiculously structured. All I want to say, Trashterpiece has me so concerned about you. Should be Constance. You totally should be. We are a different breed, which is absurd.
And she has one other question. She says, "Does Wendy Williams know how trash she is?"
So what I do know is, there's, for those who don't know, there's an episode. Wendy Williams is a consistent character. Even if she isn't like in the episode, she's in the episode. There's always a message in the background. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, Wendy did some really trash stuff to me, like literally the in person, just like it was just really bad. Mm-hmm. So we're talking like 20 years ago at this point. I finally got a platform, so I told the story, and I'm gonna be petty every single week. Yep. And it's no real beef. Like I have no beef with her, but I'm gonna be petty every single week. And I know for a fact that she's seen it. She hasn't responded. So like I know for a fact that Maya has seen it. Mm-hmm. Like Taraji P. Henson has saw the episode that she's referenced in. But I'm gonna be petty to Wendy every week. I don't think she knows she's trash, but when she watched Trashterpiece, she's gonna hear that she's trash. That's for damn sure. That's for sure. Every week, even today. Today's episodes will have nothing to do. They're not my stories, but I still found a way to take jabs at her, and it's all love. It's all love.
I love that. I love that you have that constant thread going through all of your things. That we all know that Wendy is trash, and I actually turned on another friend of mine out of New York onto Trashterpiece Theater, and every week he watches. He's just like Sherri. He's like, these cannot be real, and he's like, you need to start animating other people's stories. And he said, when you get the chance, when you're ready, I'll give you his number, because he says he's got some trash stories.
Yeah, I'm working on. I don't know. It's gonna be a while because I have some stuff in front of it. But I asked for some submissions last week of stories of like really trash first dates. So the way today's episode is structured with Black Star, it's like 2 minutes, like 3 2-minute episodes. So I wanted to kind of do something similar going forward with other people's stories. Like give me a short story form. What happened? I'll animate it. We'll do some voiceover. We'll make it really funny, and I'll do like 2 or 3, maybe once a month or once every other month. So I'm looking forward to doing that. That's going to happen. Other people's stories are going to happen. A lot of celebrities have reached out to me like, yo, when you're ready, let me know. Like really? I have some stuff. Yeah, a lot of celebrities have reached out and like, yo, I got a story for you when you're ready.
Oh, wow. That is dope. I'm really excited. And all of this, y'all, from just something that he started doing on Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Because he ain't had nothing. Because you were.
I was depressed. I was bored. I was broke. I'm like, let me just write. Let me write. And those stories are still archived on my page. So like, if you want to like on the they're called highlights on my Instagram page. They're on it. Like it's like 49 episodes of me just writing it out and putting little cool gifs on there and pettiness and music and all kinds of stuff. So that's still on. If you want to go back and read them prior to being animated, they're still on my page. They're still archived.
And I can definitely tell everyone that the number one thing I've put out Vision's Patreon. I have his IG and YouTube scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you can't join Patreon, you don't have any extra money, that's fine. Yeah. Follow him on IG, follow him on YouTube. Both of those are free. And trust us, if you need a good laugh, Trashterpiece Theater is the thing for you, because there's always going to be. Like I said, he'll throw in a poem every once in a while, but his stories are hysterical.
Yeah,
he found a way to transform them, and the stories are hysterical. And I definitely wanted to bring you back to talk about it in a way that we could, so that the interview would be preserved. Because I'm really upset that we lost the first one.
Nah, it's all good. I'm happy to be back. I really am, and a lot has changed. And a lot has changed since then. A lot has evolved since then. Again, I'm developing it for something bigger, like 30-minute episodes kind of thing for a bigger platform. So yeah, we're developing it. I have a really dope team that are working behind the scenes to kind of bring that to life. So a lot has happened since the last interview.
So are you going to bring on more animators or more people to work?
Oh, I'm stepping back. Like the goal is to bring on an animation team, and we think we have that in place right now. Like I'm still just waiting to kind of see some things, but also other voices. I don't want to do all the voices anymore. I want to write, but I want a writing team with me. I want a bunch of writers. Like, let's sit down. Let's flesh these out. I want diverse voices in the room. So that's the plan. And I want to just be able to sit back and write and voice, like do some and let great people do their great things. Like I want this to be. I want to really flesh this out correctly.
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking, but Tyler Perry should take a lesson. Anyway.
I might be too ratchet for Tyler. There's a couple. So
no. The lesson being.
The writer's room. Got you.
The writer's room.
I was thinking that. Yeah, I was thinking that.
I'm good with the stories, but I'm not good. Let the people that are really good with this do that.
Yeah.
Constance says she was concerned what would happen when you ran out of personal stories. We didn't want to run out of these questionable stuff. It's questionable stuff.
Yeah, like the crazy thing is every time I think that I'm running out, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do in 2 weeks. I'm telling you, I have a conversation with somebody. And like literally this morning is what I was having a conversation with somebody. I'm like, I'm going to do that next week. Like this questionable, really kind of sort of threesome that happened but didn't happen that I was a part of that I'm going to tell y'all about next weekend. And it's going to be, it's interesting. And I was trash, but I wasn't at the same time. It's just very confusing, but that's how they keep happening. I have conversations with people and I'm like, remember that time you told me this? And I'm like, I forgot all about that. And then I get the writing.
That's also a good lesson on having long-term friends.
True. Very true.
Because I can tell, like, even if you don't remember maybe every detail of that story, Bruce was there and you can like, did this happen or something like that? So
I hit them up all the time. I hit up Nell, I hit up Bruce, I hit up Stein and June. I'm like, yo, remember such and such happened? He's like, no, it wasn't at Lou and Choose. It was at Eddie's. It was Broshi Eddie's. And it's like, so I'm always trying to get the details right. Even when I'm creating the scenes, I'm like, all right, I remember it looking this way. Did it look this way? No, the pool table was on the left side. Like, all right, cool. So I try my best to be, but again, like you said, having long-term friends, I can hit them up and be like, yo, remember this happened? And they give me details that I forgot about that I'm able to add. So it's there's beauty in having very long-term friends who are very judgmental and supportive at the same time. Yeah.
I love that. I'm glad I was able to bring that up. So I'm going to go as most people know, if you've been here before, I ask all my artists the same 9 or 10 questions every interview, because we're going to take some time to actually, granted, if you watch Trashterpiece Theater, you get to know Perry, you get to know Vision, but these are the questions that I ask. I know we've done this, women. I know we've done this before, but it's not recorded anywhere. It is now, but so we won't have to do this again. So the first question I already asked, which was what brought you to writing? The second question I have is, tell me about the first experience you have performing as an artist, where it was, how you felt about it afterwards.
All right. So taking out like the things I did in college, like little, opening up for speakers and stuff. My very first time was at this spot called October Gallery. I went and checked it out one Friday. It was every second and third Friday in downtown Philly. And if you've ever seen Jill Scott's video, The Way, like it's filmed in an art gallery. That's the art gallery to be in. And it was I'm my little arrogant North Philly stuff. Straight off the corner, literally left the corner to go into the spot, like it then went back to the corner afterwards. I'm listening and I'm like, well, I'm better than him. It's like this competition in my mind. I don't know why, but I'm better than him. I'm gonna kill it. I'm gonna kill it. So there's one dude who went up there and just absolutely killed it. I'm like, I think I could hold my own with him though. I think he all right. He all right. It was freaking Talam AC. My arrogant self, first time spitting poems, thought I was on the same level as Talam AC. Like he all right. I mean, he all right. I'm gonna get him though. So I never forget. I told Talam that, and Talam thought it was hilarious. But the funny thing is, afterwards, I was being like so competitive, and Talam walked up and was like, "Yo, that was ill," and I'm like, "We allowed to compliment each other?" And I realized it was like this love fest as opposed to who trying to be the best that night. And there's nothing wrong with healthy competition, but in my mind that night, it was completely unhealthy. So very first night, October Gallery, Talam AC was there, absolutely destroyed it. And my little arrogant self swore I was on the same level with him. Very first poem I spit. Okay. Arrogant.
I'm going to slide out of my regular from my behind the microphone questions and ask you to give us a question about answer about the first time that you performed in Baltimore. Because
man, listen, I have so many great I love Baltimore so much. Baltimore is one of the places that I go when I need to really get an accurate opinion about my piece. Because people in Baltimore, if they love it, they're gonna let you know. If not, they might not even golf clap you. It's great. The very first time was I think it was Warm Wednesdays, and there was right down the street. We're riding to the little spot. This lady like pushes a stroller in front of my car. And I like slam on the brakes, and then she grabs the stroller and flips it over like nothing was in it, dummy. And I'm like,
wow.
Welcome to Baltimore, huh? She was like laughing in my face. We get on stage. I mean, I get there, and it was an amazing time. Like it was a great experience. But also, there was a young woman who had like told this really tragic story about what her family was going through, and she was like, "Please pray for my family. I'm just here right now. I got to do this piece, and I got to run back home because my family's going through all this stuff." And we was like, "Oh, we're gonna say some prayers for you, sis." 50 minutes, hour later, she in there just busting it open, twerking, and I just was like, I guess you ain't really had to get home, sis. So I just love Baltimore so much because it's so real. Like I can tell you so many stories from Walt Spot to just all over. Like just amazing stuff, great stories, but real, like completely authentic. And I love that about Baltimore.
Definitely, Baltimore is the city that raised me as a poet, and they definitely let you know how they feel about you, your writing, and everything when you're in a Baltimore. And we say this with all love. I've been a part of the Baltimore scene for about 12, 13 years, and it hasn't changed. The people have changed, but that attitude hasn't changed, and it's still all love because they just want you to be the best you can be with whatever it is you do.
This sister straight up told me, I did this when I was like working on this piece. You know how when you're featuring, sometimes you want to do what you know is going to hit. You know, you got a set of 3 to 5 pieces, and you know all of them is going to resonate. But every once in a while, you want to try out some new stuff. So I tried out this new joint, and his sister was like, "I saw you in DC one time. That wasn't your best effort right now." I was like,
"Whoa.
Thank you." Thank you. I'll be sure not to do that joint ever again. She was so real with me. And I was like, all right, that's what you want. Because at the time I'm like in Philly, I'm known, and I felt like in Philly I could get on the stage and belch for 3 minutes and people are gonna clap, like because they're like, hey, we know him. But Baltimore is like they're gonna give you the real. And it's a couple cities like that. You know, Baltimore's like that, Detroit's like that, Oakland's like that, Newark's like that. So I appreciate those scenes. I really, really do.
I think getting out of your neighborhood definitely gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll say it that way. It definitely gives you that perspective when you're writing.
Yeah.
So your stage name is Vision. Why did you choose that name, and what do you want the audience to get from hearing that name?
So Vision is, when I first started doing poem, when I first got on the scene, everybody had like a pen name. It was like the thing to do, and Vision was mine. It was actually, I think this is the first time I'm ever telling it. It was actual visual sound at first, and I was like, my sister was like, "That's so fucking corny. That's just you're a visual sound." And so I took that and went to Vision from there. Like my little sister was clowning the hell out of me. But for me, I want to be able to paint pictures with words. I love being able to create scenes with my words, and it's also an homage to a vision I once had. As long as it keeps me grounded. Like when I hear that name, it reminds me of something that I thought of in my head, and I had a vision in my mind that's a little kind of personal, but it keeps me grounded. It keeps me grounded. So it's like it's all three, like the time, the sign of the time, being able to paint pictures, but also an homage to something that keeps me grounded.
Perfect. I like that answer. Who is your favorite writer? This can be a songwriter, poet, author, anyone you consider a writer.
Stevie Wonder.
Ooh.
Is my favorite writer. I feel like Stevie Wonder, what he does with words is just so beautiful. I feel like he's just the simplicity. And there's some very simple writers, and when I say simple, I mean this as a compliment. Audre Lorde is like that. Well, if it takes 10 words to say something, Audre Lorde will find a way to say it in 6. It just is. Pablo Neruda is like that to me too. Just very the simplicity. But Stevie Wonder is just. Stevie Wonder is a living God to me. I just love the way he writes.
I was listening to "Isn't She Lovely" today on my ride back from where I was away for a little while this weekend, and that song is you don't realize how beautiful that song is when you're listening to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the best concert venue. Oh no, I skipped the question. My bad. You can have a 1-hour conversation with anyone in history, living or dead. Who would you choose and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably Brother Malcolm. Just the way he evolved, and running into your evolution and not running from it is something that I struggle with. I get very complacent sometimes. I get very scared to move sometimes, and just I admire him going from, again, he was from Detroit Red to Boom Boom to El Hajj, like running into evolution and not being afraid to evolve is something that I envy, and something I'm working on. So I would love to be able to talk to him about that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that's the first time we've heard Malcolm X.
I'm a big like politics and civil rights, all that stuff. We on the same page with that. But again, as a man, just, somebody who just wasn't afraid, or even if he was afraid, what were you thinking as you were evolving? I admire that, and I want to be like that.
That is perfect. I like that answer. So your perfect concert, 3 acts, again, living or dead, stadium, concert arena is set up for you. Who are we hearing perform?
Okay, so this would change. Like, if you ask me this question tomorrow, I would probably give you 3 different people. But where I'm at today would be, I'm in a very poetic stage right now. So some of my favorite songwriters are, I would say, Andre 3000 / Outkast would have to be on the stage. Lauryn Hill would have to be on the stage, and whether she gets there on time, we had to figure that out. And a completely different way, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I absolutely love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love Anthony Kiedis. I think he sneaks. If you're a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, you know this, but he sneaks poems into his songs. Like, he'll have full-blown 3-minute spoken word poems at the end of these banging rock tracks. And I would love to be able to just sit down and let him go in with your poems, and then hopefully have a bomb writing session with all 3 afterwards. That would be really great. So today, that's somewhere.
I agree. I feel that, and I always feel that set. We did very eclectic mixes. I'll say it that way. And then you sit back and you think about it. I'm going, yep, I can see how that concert would work. Yeah. Promoters got to get on our level. Like, ask us who we want to see. Put this together and we'll show up.
And the funny thing about that is, you when you talk to these artists, they're fans of each other. I guarantee you that Andre 3000 can spit a Red Hot Chili Pepper song from front to end. That Lauryn can do the same with Outkast or from the Love Below. Like, it's just, there's you heard like Leela James do No Doubt's Don't Speak. Yeah. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers did Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground. Like, they're fans. Like, art is art. And when something moves you, no matter what genre it is, you kind of want to play around with this. I think it'll be a really dope mix.
Interesting, because I was just watching Untold on Netflix about Malice in the Palace. If y'all haven't seen it, get yourself an hour together. That pissed me off so much watching that. And I'm like, oh, there's a poem in here somewhere. And I don't even watch basketball. But the point is that was one of the players said, and like, unknown to like a lot of the people, we're John out here on the crowd, we're arguing and we're fighting, like, but we're all friends. We just in a moment right now where we're just mad. Yeah, that's it. It's like fighting your brother. You know what I mean? Like, you get it off your chest, you fighting your brother. So for sure. And for that, I think sometimes with regards, I think sometimes we forget that people are humans too. That people have emotions. That if you throw a beer on me, I might not be able to stay professional. Exactly. Before I had this uniform on, I was a man. Before I had this uniform on, you might have been wearing some different colors on a different corner. So I think people forget that athletes and entertainers are humans. Yeah. But so watch that. If you have Netflix, watch that documentary. It's only an hour, but it is amazing. Steven Jackson sets it off in the first minute. Yeah. That is the quote of the whole thing. So tell us something about yourself that most people would not know. I absolutely love to cook. And I don't post those things on Instagram. Wait a second. When we were, I do remember us talking about this the last time. You were learning. You were trying to get learning. Better. I was learning last time, and it's probably good that when I was younger in my F-boy ways, I ain't have an air fryer, because I might have like 7 babies right now
They should have never gave me an air fryer and learned and taught me how to see and gave me a YouTube. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it. I like cooking for my pop. I like cooking for my sister when I see her. Mm-hmm. I never got it. I never understood like the joy you get from watching somebody enjoy something that you've created. Mm-hmm. It's no different from poetry. The same feeling I get when I read a poem and I see it resonate with somebody in the crowd is the same feeling I get when I cook for my family and they enjoy it. So last time I was trying my best to learn. Now I try my best to get it in. I'm always exploring and I'm always trying new things, and it's been a lot of fun for me.
Cooking is therapy.
It is therapy. It really is.
I agree. Halfway through the quarantine, learning how to bake again, which I hadn't done in like bake bread, which I hadn't done in probably like 20 years. Mm-hmm. Like being able to do that, just to do that again, it felt really good.
Yeah.
So do you have another creative outlet, or is there something else you want to learn?
So I play the guitar. Well, I wouldn't say I play it. I dabble with the guitar. I can't write songs. I try my best to write songs. I'm just too long-winded. You got to be very brief for songwriting. Mm-hmm. But I love to play my guitar. I love to play like cover stuff. Like I'll sit and play the Beatles. I'll sit and play like a lot of 80s, like Phil Collins or Sting or something, just completely out of not what people think I might listen to. But I love playing the guitar. That is also very therapeutic for me. I very seldom take it out the house, but I love doing that. I'll always be a gamer. Like, I've been a gamer since Nintendo, the very first Nintendo. So I don't get a chance to do it often, but when I do, it's a really good outlet for me. And I can't do it for long because I don't have the time. But between the guitar and I game and again for the creatively, I'm getting into like nature photography.
Oh wow!
I don't know where this hippie came from, and my North Philly 24-year-old self be mad at me sometimes, but I be in like, oh, that's a morning swallow butterfly. I'm gonna take a picture of that. Look at that golden breast robin over there. It's really weird, but I don't like. COVID has taught me to really appreciate nature, and I'm always out and about hiking and stuff now. So like the photography, I got a ton of pictures that I may actually turn into like a table book at some point.
Oh, nice. So just to give everyone just a little quick update of where we are, I'm going to ask Perry one more question. He's going to do his second poem of the evening, and then I will bring my other host in to ask their questions. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the comments. We will be more than happy to ask. We will be more happy to ask.
Absolutely.
So our last question, borrowed directly from inside the actor studio. If heaven exists, what would you want to hear God or say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did that. Simple. I want them to like, you lived life. You did. I gave you something. You did that. Like I'm sure God wouldn't agree with a lot of decisions I made, but you did that. I want people to be like, yo, he lived.
I get that.
That's what I want. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you again, Vision.
So I'm not sure what I read last time, but I'm really feeling this right now. Love, I come to you tarnished. I come to you tattered, shards still drying from soldering myself whole. I have taken a humble inventory and learned I don't have much to offer, but what's left is yours. I only ask you meet me halfway to forever. In exchange, I offer you peace, a diligent harmony, an unrelenting effort, a perpetual exhale. I offer these hands, the loudest and longest clap when you excel or fail, to rub your feet back in booty, to build our future brick by brick, to hold your hand with the right and our vows in the left, to cradle our babies with both. I offer this heart, battered but beating for you, walled off but wide open for you. I offer this chest, a home within our home, a safe place within our safe space. Lay down your head, lay down your day, breathe, sleep, dream. Love will be here when you open your eyes. I offer my eyes, a promise to always see you, especially in the moments you don't see yourself. Use my eyes as constellations to find your way home. Always find your way home. I offer these lips, this tongue, forehead kisses, collarbone licks, whispers of nasty nothings, and honest advice, and laughs, and good news, and I love you, and I need you, and I'm sorry, and I forgive you, and let's never fight again after amazing makeup sex. I offer you amazing makeup sex. I offer these legs and these feet to stand tall in the storms, to stop running in anticipation of them, to recline, to relax, to give greater than myself. I only ask that you give me yourself. I offer these ears as pillars of patience, waiting to hear you are ready to meet me halfway to forever. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. God, I love hearing you speak. I love the way you write. I always have.
Thank you.
Even from the first time, like I said, the first time, I think I've told you this before. The first time I ever saw you perform was actually in Baltimore. You were doing a show with Just Mike and a guitarist whose name I cannot recall.
Jamar Hall. Yeah.
Yes. So I was at that show and sitting in the crowd minding my business, and I had to leave. But like I heard you and I heard a little bit of Just Mike, and before I left, and I was just like, I'm really impressed with your stage presence and
thank you,
and the work that you presented. So I really enjoyed that. All
right.
I
don't really write too many love poems, but that one was like Jamar actually inspired that poem, not like as the love interest, but Jamar said something in his poem. He was like his girlfriend asked him, if we don't work out, will you love the next person as much as you love me? And he's like, I'm gonna have to love them more if it don't work out with you. Why would loving them the same way work with them? And I was like, damn, that's heavy. And that's where that poem came from. Again, being heartbroken and being depressed, but like I'm still gonna love the next person even harder. I'm not gonna give up.
All right, that might be a writing prompt for me to take on myself. So I'm waiting for my teammates to come back. And if anyone in the comments would like to ask a question of Vision, this is now your time. Here is Kaniki. Hey, Kaniki.
Gang.
I was about to say, I'm about to make that a writing prompt I got a workshop coming up. You know, I'll spill a prompt in a minute.
Please do.
The poem really reminded me of a time in my life when I was. Do you like India Ari?
Yeah, absolutely.
So she has a poem it's called "I'm Ready for Love."
Ready for love, yeah.
That really made me think about that. It really did.
Thank
so
you.
and it made me think about you. The poem made me think about how you're saying you're ready for, like, in a relationship for love. What do you have to offer to love?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel like so many times we have all these requests of love and other things we want from love, but then we forget that, hey, all right, what am I offering? And when you have that, it's not even, I feel like people say, what are you bringing to the table? And that becomes so offensive. But when you say, what are you offering in return for this gift that you want? That's humbling. And you got to take an inventory of what you have.
Yes. Okay, so I'm supposed to ask a question. So let me think. I was on the poem. I was, on my interview thing. I circle back to me on the question, but I'm gonna ask a funny question. Do you remember that photo that we took, me, you, and Sherri, when you had featured in DC, and we took the picture, and it was all of us. It looked like the glamour shot. You remember this picture?
I do remember that. I remember that.
On my wall right now.
I didn't even know you, but I was like, yeah, and I spotlighted that night, and Sherri had forgot that I was supposed to spotlight.
I remember that.
Sherri was like, I forgot you were supposed to spotlight. Okay, and then and then I met you, and I'm like,
got it in there.
And I'm like, who is this dude? This is amazing. And then the last time we interviewed you, and that's when I found out about Trashterpiece. So I sent it to my brother. So I just want to tell you that me and 13 watches Trashterpiece in the bed at night. Listen, this is what we watch in the bed at night before we go to sleep, like on the weekend. This is what
Shout out to 13.
Yeah,
super cool dude, man.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna come back with a question. I'm gonna let Girl Genius jump in.
Okay. I was about to say, I was looking at if there's did we ask the question that's in the chat?
No, the question in the chat has not been asked yet. So Nick McCoy wants to know, do you have any shows in person coming up?
So I don't. And I did a show last week in Miami. I went in Florida. I did 2 shows last week in Florida, and I ain't gonna lie, my anxiety was so crazy. It was the first time I had performed within the last year. My anxiety was so crazy that I'm like, all right, for me to come back out, it's gonna have to be somebody I really respect. And again, I did it because it was Ingrid B down in Florida, who I absolutely adore. She's amazing. But I don't have anything scheduled until these things kind of calm down. And I think I'll be all right. But the last thing that I want is for somebody to come see me and get sick. That would devastate me. Right. That would really devastate me.
I feel you, because my first shows since the parallelogram were this week.
Yeah.
I had one on Wednesday and one today. And that's literally the first time I've had a live stage since this started.
Yeah.
And today I was outside. I was at a farmer's market. I was outside. I was great. I was grand. I was groovy. And but anxiety when
it's serious.
It is
a lot.
I'll say that probably the best thing that happened for me is that as I was slowly being drawn back out, I did like 2 kind of smaller shows in June. Like they were outside and they were smaller. And then I got a bigger Juneteenth event. And then I got so it's just been a slow ramp up, which has definitely helped. Culminating in last Wednesday. Woo.
I want to, like, the one thing that I realized when I was in Florida, I'm like, damn, I missed this. Like, I missed being on stage. It felt so good to be back on stage and just even like the poems were the poems, but like goofing off with the audience and making folks laugh and just kind of feeling that energy. I hadn't felt that energy in so long. So I want to do it. It's not that I don't. But again, I'm not really, I'm concerned for myself, but my biggest concern is I don't want somebody else getting sick who came to my show. Like that would, I don't know. It would take a lot to forgive myself if I promoted some shit and then they got sick. That would hurt me. But nothing on the Nick long story long. Nothing currently on the docket. I'm still working on Trashterpiece and I'm developing and pitching that. But there will be stuff in the future. And as soon as I do, I'll let y'all know.
Yeah, she's well. There's a couple of Busboys hosts running around this conversation, so anything's possible. She's saying that she is in Philly.
For y'all, y'all already know. Y'all got yeses all day. Like I would never tell y'all no. Y'all got yeses all day.
Don't worry. Hey, are we recording this? We got yeses all day.
Y'all got yeses all day.
Nikki, I'll find that week. I'll find that one week where it's me and you, and we got it.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's do that.
Listen. I will show up for it. I'm here for all of it. Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you had a question, girl genius, or am I circling back to me?
You can ask your question because you already know what mine is, and that's always
I do.
And so this is gonna be a good one now.
So my question is, let me see how to word this because you seem like a doer, right? So it seems like you're doing, because I'm listening to like your interview and you're talking about like when you're creating, right? Do you feel in some aspect that you made it, right? And do you take the time to, after you've done something, right? Do you take the time to sit back and feel like achieved, or do you keep adding more things to your to-do list and you're not sitting in the fact that something is achieved?
That is an amazing question, and I'm glad you asked me that because no, I do not feel like that I've made it because, again, we become so ambitious. And no, I don't typically do that. I haven't been doing that until I got checked. One of my good friends, a poet named Donnie Jackson out of LA. He's an amazing writer, and he's also a producer. And so I kind of lean on him when it comes to like this Hollywood thing. And I'm like, and he was like, dude, shut up. You just won a film festival. Like, enjoy the moment.
Right. Exactly.
And I had, he really checked the hell out of me, and I needed it in that moment because I was on to the next thing. Because I have this thing where I'm like, again, I wish I could share more about what I'm doing, and I will behind the scenes. But I'm very close to where I want to be, and it's just not there yet. And I just get so caught up on that I'm like, I just screened at Black Star Film Festival. And a month before that, I screened at the American Black Film Festival, and it's like, sit in that, enjoy that. It's okay to celebrate. You don't have to be on to the next thing. Sit in those moments. And I'm glad that you asked that because I will tell anybody we have to celebrate the tiniest to the biggest victories. You got to celebrate them.
The fact that you started is a celebration. You understand?
Absolutely.
Like you have an idea, and the fact that you started a celebration. I definitely wanted to bring that up because I am that person, and somebody was talking to me about that. And I just want to think about how far, like when we interviewed you before, to how far you come now. You understand that it hasn't been 2 years yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
What you have done, and keeping in mind that it's a pandemic, sir. You know what I'm saying? In the pandemic, that you have done this time in the pandemic. So if you weren't, I was gonna tell you that you need to celebrate yourself.
I agree.
And I need to hear that, and I need those reminders, because again, if you told me last year this time, when I was still trying to figure out how to upload in HD, how like that I would be in 2 film festivals, that I would have won the audience award, the biggest award at one of the biggest on the planet, I would have never. I'd have been like, yeah, right. But now I'm like, all right, cool, that's done. What's next? Nah, that can't be. We can't do that. We gotta sit and understand and celebrate and live in those moments. Celebrate yourself. So I'm glad that you asked that, and I feel like we need those reminders from our friends.
Yes, did you create a special video for the film festivals, or did you submit the one that you screened? Did you create a special one for the festival, or did you screen one you'd already done?
Nah, I screened. So at ABFF, I screened the episode, the Time Machine episode, where I was dating the young woman whose house looked like could have been Billie Holiday's house. Yes. Yeah, I sent that one in, and I was like, this is gonna be too ratchet, and they loved it, and that's what won. And for Black Star, I did 6 custom episodes for Black Star.
Oh wow!
I did 6 custom episodes for them.
Yeah. Okay, can we start with that episode is insane?
Which episode is not insane? The one where the kid taps you on your leg.
Yeah,
I want to bounce off of what Kaniki said and point out a couple things. One, definitely, I'm glad you're back, because from the last time we did this show till now, you're absolutely right. You guys are absolutely right. So much has happened. Mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. So many of the people we've had on this show have had like huge personal success and professional success since we've done this. Like, I love when we come back and go, we've had somebody on here who's gotten poet laureate, who's been nominated for a Grammy, who's won a film festival. I absolutely love that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that most of them are our friends too.
That's they're all our friends. I do for my friends. I really do.
Yeah.
So we have a congratulations. I'm throwing that out there.
Thank you so much. I received that.
Okay, so this is one question I did forget in my initial interview, and I touched on it, and then I ran away because we started talking about something else. So when you started, it was Fuck Niggamus, the God Fuck Niggamus. Mm-hmm. And now you have the collection of petty gods.
Yeah.
How does one qualify to be a petty god? Because I'm just you have some good ones.
So I get nominations all the time, and some are like, I don't like. I'm like, all right, you just don't like this person, but some are just very, very obvious. So Fuck Niggamus was like this idea I had of like the god of all fuck boys. I'm like, because I always say God protects babies and fuck boys, or whatever that saying is. Because clearly I've been protected over the years, so that's got to be what it is. So Fuck Niggamus was just this idea that I had. But then I'm like, yo, all these Future memes were just like so hilarious to me. And I'm like, Drake is a quintessential throwback 80s, 90s light-skinned fuckboy. Nobody would have called him on it, but it's true. And he's also seen Trashterpiece, by the way. He's also seen it.
Oh, wow.
I know for a fact that he's seen it. And then with Janae Aiko, I don't think she's like a bad person at all. But if you listen to some of her lyrics, if that was sang by a man, you'd be like, oh, that's some fuckboy shit right there. Like, I love Janae Aiko. Love her.
I love the fact that you have a woman as one of the gods.
Hell yeah. and if you notice, she's always like the voice of reason as well. Like, I've had some other nominations. Like, somebody nominated Alicia Keys. I was like, I mean, she did kind of take somebody. I mean, and then the most I get is Lori Harvey, and I'm like, I just think she living her best young black life. I don't think she's she ain't doing nobody dirty.
No. She just living her life, and
she ain't making no promises to nobody
at her age.
She like a young black woman, George Clooney. Nobody criticized George Clooney when he was the consummate bachelor. Yeah.
She's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing.
And she dated Future and didn't get pregnant. That's a win.
That's a whole win.
Whole win.
She beat the god. So I can't.
She's the freaking Titan Slayer at this point.
Yeah, she might make an appearance, but it won't be as a god. Like Donnell Jones made an appearance and he DM'd me, which was really cool. He was a good sport about being, because I mean, if Where I Want to Be is a quintessential fuckboy anthem. He thought it was hilarious. He was a really good sport about it. So Kevin Samuels has made an appearance. Derek Jackson has made an appearance.
Yes.
And we keep just nominating. Like, everybody has been really cool about it. Everybody has been.
Y'all,
really,
he
really
also
cool.
included Tabitha in one in her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did everybody send you that when it happened?
The cool thing is whenever Wendy does anything, I get 30 tags at least. At the very least, I'm getting 30 tags. I'm getting about 50 forwards. Anytime Wendy does anything, I get forwarded. Anytime Future or Maya does anything, I get forwarded. So all of that stuff is really, really hilarious to me, and I love it. I absolutely love getting those tags. And Tabitha was like the best. I wish I could drag, and I wish my level of petty was that peaceful. It was the most peaceful petty ever.
It was the most peaceful drag.
It really was.
I don't work like that.
That was the sunshine and rainbows. Petty.
Yeah, it was great. It was so great. I wish I wrote like that.
We all do. We all wish we could drag in that manner.
That was so great. Yeah, so great.
So I'm going to send it back to Girl Genius for the last question.
Now, I do not think that I asked you this the first time because this was not my last question at the time. None of us were asking this. So you have now been on the show not once, but twice.
Our first repeat. Boom, 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 boom.
Gang, gang.
So we have started asking everyone at the end, who do you think would make an excellent guest on the show? And having survived us twice for any of the segments, not just this one, having survived us twice, who do you think can hold up? Who would make a great guest on the show?
I think I mentioned him a couple times, and I'm gonna mention him again. His name is Donnie Jackson. He's a poet out of LA. He's a producer. He has Emmys. Like, again, we out here. Poets is out here in these streets. He's also one of the co-hosts and facilitators of the Poetry Lounge out in LA, one of the biggest venues in the world at this point.
Probably where I've heard his name.
Yeah. He's a good dude. I mean, just a wealth of information from the poetry world. He has he's literally a PhD in this. So like he's from scripting to production to he's a very dynamic dude, and I think folks could get a lot of. I love talking to him. He just be dropping gems and don't even know it. And what I hate about him is what I love about him. I'll mention like I love Corinne Bailey Ray in like a post, and then he'll just send me a picture with him and Corinne Bailey Ray, and I'm just like ready to knock everything over like you bastard. So he knows everybody but don't flex. He has Emmys but don't flex. He's just a wealth of knowledge, man. Like I think y'all would really enjoy talking to him, goofing off with him, and picking his brain. He's a great dude.
Definitely.
All right.
We'll definitely try to work that out.
Heck yeah.
He's a really, really good dude.
So I'm going to kick it quickly to our host for next week to let everyone know who our special guest is.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you.
Yes.
So what? It's the end of the month already?
Yeah, we're here now because we were having such a good time.
Oh my God. I mean,
we close this month out. We close this month out with what? You and a round table, right?
Yeah, we have a really good round table this month too.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Actually, our next two round tables are dope.
Yeah.
True.
I am interviewing out of the 757 area, the writer who sings and the singer who writes, Nina Bruton. And yeah, she does like voiceovers, and she's a poet and a host, and she does a whole lot of things down there. So I'm very excited to have her. She watches us, and I'm very happy to actually have her on the show. So make sure you come back to see.
Great.
And then who do we have at the round table?
Our August round table, out formerly of Baltimore, Maryland, now currently living in Oakland, California, is Love the Poet.
Hey.
Yes, that is our round table for August. We are really excited. Our next round table will be in October, and it's not officially booked yet, but I know exactly who it is, and I just need to get the okay. I just need to get the okay, and then we can announce who that is. So, All right, everyone, please, thank you for coming out and joining us tonight. One more round of applause for those of us in the room for Vision.
Thank you so much.
I love that
It's
you
not
came
a
back.
golf clap. It's just I'm not raising my arm clap.
Right.
And everyone, you know, we'll be back next Sunday, 7 p.m. with Poets and Platforms with Kaniki. Thank you, everyone. Please stay safe. Wash your hands. Duck all germs because it's not just COVID running in these streets right now.
That's right.
No,
Facts,
it's really not.
facts.
Right.
And we will see you all next week. Bye.
Peace.